Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Very excited today. I've got actor Matt Biedel with me. So welcome, Matt.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me, Mike.
I'm really excited to talk to you. So we had Crystal Balint
Oh, wow.
was on the show.
Wonderful.
Oh, it's probably been a week and a half ago, something like that. And she was terrific. She's a big fan of yours.
I'm a big fan of hers too, so it's mutual. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, we finished at the time when I was talking with her. I hadn't finished Midnight Mass yet.
Yeah.
So I was about halfway through when we talked. But now that I'm all the way through, I mean, whew, that's quite the ride.
Yeah, those last two episodes too. It's Yep.
I knew it was coming because it's a limited series.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I don't think there's a season 2, so
no,
it's going to get crazy in the last couple episodes.
Yeah. All my friends were like, so do you think there'll be a season 2? I was like, no, I'm trying not to give it away, but it's like, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Well, so I'd asked Crystal because I saw that you guys were also in that Midnight Club that's coming out, and I was like, oh, that's season 2, Midnight Club.
Yeah, I know, it's strange. Two midnight shows in a row that have nothing to do with each other, but yeah.
Well, and I think if I remember right, I saw that years ago you had done like a short that was called Midnight something.
Yeah, I did. Midnight Scorpion.
Midnight Scorpion. I was like, he's finishing the trilogy.
Yeah, right. It's a trilogy. Everything comes in threes. So I guess my midnight days are over.
That'll be it. So Midnight Club, I think what she said was it was based on the Jonathan Swift books. Is that
Christopher Pike?
Christopher Pike. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Christopher Pike.
Yeah.
I'm getting my my youth books mixed up.
Yeah. So Christopher Pike. It should be fun. It's a different sort of vibe from Midnight Mass. Yeah. But yeah, we had a blast doing it. So.
I love that it's like once he finds actors that he likes, he just keeps bringing them back.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's nice. It makes it feel almost like a somewhat normal job, which it's still not, but it feels a little bit more steady to be part of or like like I used to do theater back in the day, and it's like being part of a repertory theater company where you get to do different plays, play different parts, and they keep bringing you back, and that's what Mike's kind of created, Mike and Trevor. So it's been really
neat.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, and it's not like it's the same role, so you're playing different roles. So that's pretty great.
Exactly. That's what you want as an actor. I mean, you want to be able to play all these different things, and so I got to play Sturge in Midnight Mass, and then I got to play Dad in Midnight Club and do that, and then good. Yeah, we'll see what happens from here on out. But
well, and thankfully, I mean, there's such good writing and dialogue on their series. You know you're in good hands. It's not like you got attached to somebody and you're like, I guess I need to work, so I'll do it. But
no, exactly. It's the opposite. You're like, how did I get so lucky? Yeah, no, right. It's true. The writing is fantastic. He loves developing the characters because he realizes that despite the genre that he's in, that's the most important thing. If you don't care about the characters, then the scares and stuff might be temporary, but they don't really land. And when you do care about the characters, then when these horrible things happen, then it like sticks with you, and it makes the series truly impactful, and it makes the horror impactful. So it's been great, to have them writing and just the environment that they create for us as actors, being on set despite the pandemic and everything else. Right. Like just good people all around, and it's a joy to go to work every day, which is not always the case in this town.
Yeah, right.
So that's been lovely.
That's pretty great. So I don't want to give anything away for Midnight Mass. It's terrific. It's terrific, but it's such a good cast, and it's kind of a slow burn. Yeah. Until the last couple of episodes.
Oh yeah. Then stuff definitely picks up for sure. But,
and then it picks up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it was we thought we had it figured out. Mm-hmm. We're like, this is what's coming. We had it figured out. Yeah. And we didn't have it figured
out. No, that's classic Mike. So
yeah, it's got some good twists in there.
Yep. Yeah, it does. It does. So
pretty great.
Yeah, no, it definitely takes, yeah, and I've heard that from a lot of my friends too. It's like, no, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. It's like I tried, didn't want to give anything away, so I'm glad. Yeah, it's nice to surprise
Yeah.
people in this day and age.
Well, that's right. That's right. It's difficult to do. There's not a lot of original ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty great. Sturge was our favorite character.
Come on.
No, I'm serious, because he starts out and you're thinking, I don't know about this guy. He's just it seemed like, well, he's got kind of, it's just a small part. But then every episode his part gets a little bit bigger.
Yeah. It was kind of nice. It's again part of that slow burn. But yeah, you kind of get to know this guy little by little. Kind of figure out a little bit who he is. And yeah, it was a fun part to play for sure, just because I got to kind of slow.
Well, he just gets it feels like he just gets kind of caught up in stuff, and it's just like he can't help himself. He's just being kind of drug along.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy that's used to doing what he's told to do, and fix this and get me this and move this stuff over here, and like he's just a handyman. He does whatever he's told, and Bev is a strong personality, and once he sees that miracle happen in front of his eyes, it's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And everybody's telling him this is some sort of a religious thing, and he's never been a religious guy before, and but now he's seen this miracle, and he's like, yeah, I guess I'm all in, and I'm part of something that feels bigger than me, and definitely bigger than his normal, I think, sort of mundane existence, for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe he has a few feelings for Bev too, unrequited love.
That's right.
I had some fun with that too and whatnot, but I mean, trying to figure out reasons for why he was doing what he was doing. But
I thought it was interesting because in some ways you're like, stop doing that. Why aren't you seeing what's in front of you? But then in other ways you're like, yeah, that's probably exactly what would happen if this was real.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen religious fanaticism for forever. I feel like, the course of history, and so I mean, people do some crazy things, and when they get caught up in whatever that movement is, or get told lies and start to believe them, and and Mike, having grown up in the Catholic Church, it was something very personal to him, and being an altar boy himself, and he had a lot of expertise in that area, and I mean, it's fun to see people that are devout Catholics that love it, and that love how detailed he was, and about
he really was
Catholic Church, and and Islam and all that stuff, that they researched and made sure it was all the facts were all right, and the rituals were all correct, and he wanted to make sure he got all of that right. So it was but and despite being staunch Catholics, they still they understand the what religious fanaticism can do in the wrong hands, so.
Well, did you enjoy working with that cast? It seemed like you could just kind of tell the cast liked each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We I mean, part of it was we had all met in I think early March. Yeah, it was early March of 2020. And we were about to get started, and we were a couple of days away, and I'm sure, Crystal probably told you this, but and then we had, we all got to know each other pretty well, and then all of a sudden we were all scattered, across the continent, and sent home, and then we had all this time where we were texting each other, and kind of in touch a little bit, and then we all came back in late July and started filming in August, and we were in like the first production that got up and going in Vancouver, and so we felt kind of there was this bond with that, and wearing the shields and the masks and all being part of that together, and so we bonded because of that, and also it was just a fantastic group of people. Again, not always the case in this town, but this was just a wonderful group of people who were willing to deal with all the restrictions and everything else, and just happy to be working, and we were all just happy to be together and to have, we only basically hung out with each other, and because of our bubble and testing and all that stuff. And so yeah, we really bonded, and it was just it was a magical sort of experience for
Yeah,
all of
that's
us.
great.
So we all
Did you have to
forever-
quarantine before you got started, or did you just test and go?
No, we had to get, so part of the Canadian uh you know guidelines were like we had to quarantine for 14 days
Yeah.
once we got up there, and so we how many times did I quarantine? Yeah, so I had to quarantine 14 days before midnight mass when we got up there. I went with my family. We got up there in July, quarantined for 2 weeks, and then when we went back up in February for the midnight club, we had to do it again, which with two kids, it can be those 2 weeks
That's a lot.
inside. It can be a little rough, especially the 5-year-old. But yeah, so we were always glad when that was over. We could actually get out and enjoy the beauty of Vancouver and whatnot. So
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great.
yeah,
Yeah, Vancouver is quite the kind of film and television town. They do quite
Yeah.
a lot of productions there.
they have a lot of studios, a lot of people that work in the industry, and it's a beautiful place. And what I love about Midnight Mass is you can't really tell it where it's shot, which is
No.
kind of nice. I mean, obviously you see the ocean and stuff, but it doesn't. A lot of shows shot in Vancouver, you can really tell immediately. Oh, that's Vancouver, you know. And
No, this it looked like it wasn't recognizable.
no,
Could have been
but
anywhere.
could be anywhere along the East Coast or even the West Coast, and they were really great about that. They found a great spot down in Langley on a farm, and that's where they built the town, and they built a part of the town on the water down in Steveston, which is south of Vancouver. It was just, I mean, the sets were fantastic and amazing, and yeah, it really took, when you were acting on those sets in those towns, like it made it that much easier because it just felt so real.
Yeah.
And those sets had been sitting out because they were built back in February or whatever.
Right.
And they had been sitting out in the weather in Vancouver, which had beat them down, which was perfect for the show.
Yeah.
That island has just been beaten to a pulp, basically. And it's just old, and people have left, and that's
Well, and that's what it looked like. It just looked like a beaten down town.
So, and I think they were already pretty beaten down, but then once, you give it another 6 months, kind of like my beard, give that another 6 months, and it's even more impressive. So I was, and I was happy to have that extra 6 months for my hair and beard to really let it flow.
Let it go. Yeah. I see. I could let mine grow for 6 years. It's not going to do much more than that.
Well, I've never grown my beard that big. I didn't even know I could do it. But luckily the pandemic aided in that regard. I mean, I had a pretty.
I went through some pandemic beard.
Yeah.
I went through a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't anything else to do. You might as well let it go.
I let my neck beard go. I mean, I usually trim it up and all that stuff, but I was like, no, Sturge doesn't do that.
Did it drive you crazy though? Having it on your neck?
It did. It did. The neck. I mean, this is just like it's like you had like a neck pillow at all times. But yeah, it was, and then the eating was a nightmare because I left it kind of even long on the lip, and it was so that I don't think any of us, my wife mainly, miss the beard at this point. So yeah.
No. Did you shave like immediately after filming?
I kept it for a second because I thought I trimmed it. I finally trimmed the mustache. I was like, that's done. I can eat soup again. But then I kept it because I was like, what if I get this call for whatever, an audition for this, and I can just trim it down. And luckily, what did I do? So I waited about a week, and it was right before Christmas, and then I started chopping it down into pieces and taking photos and sending them to the rest of the cast, where I looked like some, it kept like this stash and sideburns and all that stuff, and slicked the hair back and put on. I was doing the whole thing, just having fun with it.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So do you have plans to go as Sturge for Halloween at some point?
No. I'm going. I had enough of Sturge. I have some of Sturge's stuff. I have his hats and
very nice.
And his jacket, his work jacket. But no, I'm not planning on it. That's if I don't know if I ever go back. I had enough time with Sturge, I guess. If other people want to do it, by all means.
So if they do a prequel with Sturge, no.
Well, if they do a prequel, I guess I wouldn't mind getting paid to revisit the character. I don't know if I want to do
Okay.
it for Halloween. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to something a little easier. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I jumped way ahead because I like to start with how you got into entertainment and why you chose to be an actor. Because if I remember right, you got into acting a little bit late.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was late in college. I took a class and I'd always, well, I'd always kind of been fascinated with the idea. I grew up
Yeah.
in Portland, Oregon, and I didn't really know how to go about it. I didn't know anybody that was an actor. And so I was, but I was always fascinated with movies, and I deep down, I was like, that would be amazing. So I flash forward to college, and I'm in my, almost my last year of college, and I was like an international law major, taking a lot of political science classes. And I still had a couple of electives that I had to take, and one of them I happened to see was Intro to Theater, and I took it, and I was like, ooh, this is kind of fun. And we did a couple scenes and whatnot, and read some plays, and then I had another elective that I could take that was arts based, and I took an Intro to Acting class, and that's when I truly fell in love with it. And I loved it so much, and I loved the break from all my other classes. I loved going to the theater building and just having that break, and so I ended up taking that same class for no credit. I mean, I wasn't technically getting credit for graduation, but I took it again, and the head of the acting department noticed. Whoa.
Oh, it's the alarm.
But he saw his mom.
Of course.
But yeah, the head of the acting department like cornered me in the hall and was like, "What's you took the same class again with a different teacher, trying to be pull a fast one on us, and what's the deal?" And I was like, "Well, I really love it." And like, "Well, why don't you keep going? Like, you can audition for the program." And I went, "Well," and then next thing you know, I was like, kind of did it on my own. And I told my parents later, once I got into the program and switched majors, and I was
what they think about you switching out of law into acting?
I think deep down they knew that I wasn't happy in that, doing that, because we'd talked about it, and I think they could see my passion for this, and I think they were kind of scared because they didn't really know much about it. But they became my staunchest supporters, and started coming to all my plays and all that stuff. And
That's great.
and then after that, I kind of, I mean, I didn't get to LA till like what, I was about 30, so that's late in the game.
That's
So
a little late.
I ended up going to grad school as well and doing some more theater. That's where I did the repertory theater down in San Diego at the Globe, and fell in love with theater and Shakespeare and all that stuff. And then after that grad program, I was like, oh, I guess I'll go to LA now. And so my class went to New York, and I got an agent right away, and from a showcase that we did with our program. And then I just, from there, but again, like, I had casting directors that were like, wait, where did you come from? Where have you been? It's like, people don't show up to LA at 30, usually it's not normal. So they were like, and I did, I looked fairly young, but still they were like, why haven't we seen you before? I got that a lot. And and a lot of the people I was going up against had been working for years, that were in the same age bracket and whatnot. So but
you had to catch up fast.
I caught up pretty fast, and everybody has their own journey, and it kind of brought me to where I am today. And that's
have you got to play a lawyer yet?
I've got to play some douchebag lawyers on episodics, for sure. There's a lot of that, years and years of that. Douchebag cops, just a lot of terrible, like, grown up frat boys. That was my jam for a lot of years, and I did I did all the NCISs, worked my way through all those. And,
you've been on like all of them.
CSIs and all that.
We always play we played, like, before I have somebody on the show, I go around to everybody in the family. I'm like, what have you seen them in before? And so my mother, she's like, I'm pretty sure he's been on NCIS. And I was like, okay, which one? And she's like, I'm not sure. I know I've seen him though. So then I looked, and I was like, it was all of them.
There's all of them. And the one everybody remembers is I did the Mark Harmon NCIS, and it was the Christmas episode, and my daughter got sick from Santa. Santa had like some sort of virus on his outfit and got
Come on, Santa.
NCIS team is trying to figure that out. How are these kids getting sick? Yeah, so that was my fun episode. I was returning home from the war, and my daughter was sick from Santa. Yeah. So I still,
pretty good.
people will still reach out about that episode because I think it still plays or something. But yeah.
Well, it's still out there. They play NCIS.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Well, yeah. Totally. It's super popular.
I'm sure you're getting those little checks still coming every time they show.
So get the checks for those. Those are great. The old CBS, and I did an episode of CSI Miami. It was my first gig. I'm still getting checks for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty great. What did you do in high school? Did you do theater in high school?
I did. I was into sports. I played football and mainly basketball was my sport. And I was in like student government and whatnot. And I'd always been kind of fascinated by it. And once I got done with basketball my senior year, I was kind of done with sports for that year and kind of getting ready for college. And somebody came up to me and said, we're doing this musical. Would you want to do it? And I was always willing to try different stuff. And I was like, not much of a singer, but yeah, why not? This could be fun. It's a different group of people. And I always got along with kind of everybody at school. Groups and people, and I knew people that were actors, and they all kind of mixed together with the student government and sports, and and so I ended up trying out for this musical, and I got this tiny part and got to kind of be in the back cast and in a musical called Mame, and at the end of my senior year, and so it was just kind of fun. That was dip my toe into the theater world and get to see kind of the just the camaraderie and that feeling of theater, of creating something together as a group that I kind of fell in love with, and I think that stuck with me until I finally actually took those classes in college, and they'd always been kind of weighing on me. I still didn't know the jump. I was like, how do you go from this musical to being on TV or being in back or whatever? So I still couldn't quite piece that together, but eventually I worked it out, and I figured it out by age 30, and got to LA, and just been
have you been back home for like a reunion since you became an actor?
I went back for 10-year reunion and 15, and there's a lot of people had kind of followed my career. I hadn't really, this was before I'd done like Altered Carbon and stuff over the last 2 years, but they knew they'd seen me in national commercials and things like that for whatever, Taco Bell or Chevy or whatever, and then they'd seen me on episodics.
That's pretty great.
Everybody watching this.
I can imagine there was some surprise.
There was
a little bit of surprise.
Yeah, there was some surprise, and I think and it's like everybody's just was really excited. I think excited for me, excited that I was doing something so unique that was kind of foreign to them, and there was just a genuine excitement about it, and kind of all kind of rooting for me, which was that's
great,
really lovely.
Yeah, that's terrific.
So it's been fun. I still, I had a friend reach out last night, from high school, and he had just watched Midnight Mass, and I could tell just from his text that he's been following my career, and he's just really excited for me, and it was really sweet. So
it is. That's nice. Great. That's great. I enjoyed you on Altered Carbon. Really good on.
That was a fun one. That was a really fun one.
That had to be kind of a fun show.
That show was I mean, the budget on that thing was unreal, and we're again, that was Vancouver as well, but they built this huge sets that I can't even imagine how much they cost, and running, they would have it rain from the ceiling, and then the rain would go into these pipes and then funnel back up to the top, and rain, come back down, recycled it. And I mean, it was like being on the set of like Blade Runner, but it was just like practical and real. And, it was unreal. And then just like the makeup team and the stunt team and everything was just top notch, and just a blast to be on, not to mention the fact that I got to play 3 different characters, which was
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I got to play somebody that looked so different from who I was, and that whole that was when I was talking about that last night with some friends. When I got that, it was kind of like I got that audition, and it was like I looked at it and I was like, because I already spoke fluent Spanish, and I had for years, but I'd never had gotten a chance to speak Spanish, and I was like, I probably never will. You know, why are they going to have a white dude speak Spanish? And then I see this part, and I'm like, oh, I'm a big guy, and I could play a neo-Nazi, and I can also speak Spanish, and so I just almost immediately knew. I was like, this part is mine to lose. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, that was an excitement there for that, and yeah, sure enough, I got it, and that kind of opened a lot of things up for me, as far as being a character actor, which I think is what I always kind of wanted to do, even when I first got out of grad school, but I never really had a chance to do until Altered Carbon, and now I've gotten to play all these different kind of character parts. And Mike was a fan of Altered Carbon too, and he saw that and he was like, oh yeah, this is good because he can play all these different parts, and this, you know, so it's been nice. That's been a great thing. And yeah.
So you were Sergeant Dale Cheddar on Umbrella Academy, which is like the best name ever. Enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the best. It's one of the best names, I feel like. Yeah, that was really fun. That was fun. That show was a blast. That was Toronto we shot, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun playing something again, totally different, kind of a goofball.
Have you read any of the comic books?
Yeah, so I had read the comics, at least 2 or 3 of them before I went beforehand up. Even before I got the audition, I had heard they were making it, and I went and got the graphic novels or the comics, and started reading them, and I really loved them. And yeah, so, and even though Cheddar's not actually in the comics, but yeah, and then I read the part and I was like, this is pretty hilarious. This is good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I had told my son for years, I was like, you need to read these. Really good. I was like, it's the My Chemical Romance guy. It's really good. Yeah. And he absolutely would not give them a try. And then it became a show, and he's like, I love this show.
Yeah, I told you. I know, it's a great premise, the siblings and all that stuff, and it's had huge success, which has been awesome, and nice to see. You know, some of those people that I work with, they're really good people as well. So
yeah. Well, I think the other one we watched him was Narcos.
Yeah,
that was different too.
It was different. I didn't. That was kind of just like it was almost, I describe it like it's a 6-month Boy Scout camp in Mexico. That's kind of what it felt like. It was a blast, because we were just hanging out, shooting guns and riding in the back of pickups and going up into the mountains and driving. We drove our own cars up through these dirt roads in the middle of nowhere, Mexico, and they'd put a drone out to like film us from above, and it was just a blast. It was like, it really was being at like camp. I didn't do a whole lot on the series necessarily, but yeah, it was fun, and I got to work with one of my favorite actors, Scoot McNairy, who I love. And, yeah, when I heard he was doing it, I got cast in it, and I heard he was doing it. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, because I've been wanting to work with him for years, and now he's a friend, and I just yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, it's worth the experience just to make the friend.
Yeah, exactly. And all those guys that were part of our Operation Leyenda team on that show, that we all have a special bond, no question, for I think probably for the rest of our lives. So
well, and I lied, because you were on this show that should have lasted longer. It did. It was called GCB. You had an appearance on that show, and we thought it was funny. We watched it when it came out. It was based on like a bestseller.
Yeah.
But it didn't last very long, which was kind of disappointing.
No, and yeah, that show, I was excited to work with Annie Potts. And was Leslie Bibb. And they were nice and stuff. That show, it's funny. You talk about shows. Being a guest star for years and years, you walk on the sets and you can get a vibe almost immediately as to, what's the energy? Is it good? Is it bad? Are people happy to be here? All that stuff. You learn to read that pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that was one of those shows where you could just tell from the first fitting or everything, like something was off, and it's funny because I left that set. I remember leaving that set, being done, and I I should have been extremely excited at the time. I went and talked to my wife after, and she's like, how'd it go? And I said, I don't, it just, it, I don't know. I
That's
was
a
like,
shame.
if I was on a show like that and had to go every day, and it just, everybody seemed miserable. And
I mean, do you
I don't know
think
if I could do it.
that was kind of what ended it? It's just that just wasn't
Maybe,
the
I mean,
chemistry.
who knows, but it just didn't seem like a happy place to go to work. And it's funny because within that week I got an audition, and it was like one of those times when you like, I'm like, maybe, do I want to do this? Or should I just go back and do theater again? Like, because even if I book a show and I'm a series regular on GCB, it's just, again, the money will be fine, but it's like, do I really
Yeah,
want
if
to?
you're unhappy.
If people are unhappy, like, and I would go to so many sets where people just were ungrateful and unhappy, and they would talk to me as the guest actor as like, and say, Matt, now I'm like stuck. I can't even do films. And I'm like, and at the time I'm working in a hotel, and I'm like, dude, do you know who you're talking to here? Like, I would give my left leg to be a series regular on Cold Case. Like, what do you like? Know your audience, man. Like, I have to go back to work later on. I'm working the swing shift. Like, no, you're fine. You're complaining to me, and just like that. And it's funny because then I got the audition for Mad Men, and
Yeah.
I went in and I auditioned, and Matt Weiner, the creator, was like in the room, and essentially like offered me the part on the spot, and it was just like, oh wow. And I'd wanted to get on that show for years, and then I did, and I got it, and again, from top to bottom, it was like a completely different experience. It was like the opposite of GCB. So from the fitting on down, it was just incredible, and everybody was so grateful to be working on that show. Again, I mean, it was a great show, but that was one of those shows where I left, and I was walking down to the parking garage to my car after my last day, and I was so sad. I was just devastated because I was like, I don't want to leave. I don't want, and like the cast would hang out on set, even if they weren't working, and they were like playing board
Bring
games.
Lewis back.
Yeah. So I'm just like, please bring me back, and they never did, unfortunately. But yeah, that was one of those sad moments. You're like, I that's the show I want to be on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, after years and years of that, you do get a vibe for different sets and the kind of set you want to be
That's
on,
interesting.
which has made it, and so obviously now working for Mike and Trevor, with Intrepid and their stuff, it's one of those vibes where you're like, yeah, this is the good stuff. This is the good stuff. This is one of those sets that you want to go to every day, and you want to hang out with these people, and you want to go to set even if you're not working, and that kind of stuff, which is what you want.
Yeah. See, I would think you would have been perfect for Mad Men. That's the vibe I get from you. It's like you belong in that era.
Well, everyone would always tell me that, and I'd be like, well, I can't seem to get an audition. It wasn't until I think season 5 I finally got the audition, and again, like, it was like, I think Matt Weiner saw it immediately too. He's like, yeah, you belong in this world.
You belong in this.
Well, for only one episode, but you belong.
What is there a genre that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
I'd love to do like like a Western. Obviously, everybody always says that, but Western.
You need a Western.
Yeah, Westerns would be wonderful.
You could choose your facial hair for a Western. You can go in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, I got options, Mike.
Yeah.
And so that would be amazing. Hamish just did a Western, and I was really envious. I'm just really envious of Hamish altogether. Those flowing locks and but his incredible acting skill. It's funny. I saw Hamish first time I ever saw him was 14 years ago, down at South Coast Rep. My buddies were in a production of Hamlet, and Hamish was playing Hamlet, and I saw him in it.
Very nice.
And I was amazed, and it was still to this day my favorite Hamlet. So all these years later, again, to be working with Hamish and get to be friends with him, and it's
he's such a good actor.
But yeah, he did a Western recently, and I was envious. And then what else? Like a spy thriller.
Oh yeah. Well, there's several franchises out there.
Like a period spy, like a John le Carré, like a Tinker Tailor Soldier spy, like sort of thing. Or
you
just
do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm putting it out there.
We can make that happen. I'll make some calls.
Yeah, see what you can do.
How about comedy?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I grew up doing comedy. Like in school, that was like my jam. And then I got put in that that D-bag lawyer category. But yeah, I would go out for sitcoms. I don't think I really knew. I should have taken a class on how. I didn't do Groundlings or any of that stuff. And but I would love to do comedies as well. And that would be fun. That would be fun.
We need more comedies. It's like the sitcom is disappearing.
Yeah. No,
some of those come back.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah, comedy. So just those three: Western, comedy, and
a spy
thriller. Yeah.
Maybe if there was some way we could combine the three.
Yeah, right.
They're doing modern day Westerns, so I don't know why you couldn't do like a 50s Western. You could fit all of them.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think a modern day Western too. I do like a Hell or High Water or like a Longmire.
Oh yeah. Love like Longmire. What's the Yellowstone is, I guess, the one that's still on.
Yellowstone. I got my buddies on Yellowstone, and and then Scoot did a Western called Godless.
Oh my gosh, loved Godless.
And he was wonderful in it. But he just told me about how he just like rode horses all day. I was like, that sounds pretty awesome.
Sounds pretty good.
Around Santa Fe, whatever it was. So
I was hoping for like a season 2 of Godless, but
I know, me too. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's happening.
Good show. I'm a Western fan though. It doesn't take much to impress me on Western.
Me too. I mean,
Hell and High Water was also excellent.
Yeah, I was kind of obsessed as a kid with Silverado, which is like a early.
That's the early Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Kevin Costner, Kevin Kline, and Danny Glover, and it was just Brian Dennehy. So
that's one of those that every time it's on, I sit down and watch it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that kind of caught me up, and then I started watching all the old school, like Clint Eastwood, Sergio Leone films, and Once Upon a Time in the West, and all those classics. So
I just watched Once Upon a Time in the West not too long ago. I guess I'd seen it years ago, but it still holds up. Pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
Tombstone was always mine.
Butch Cassidy, of course, too.
Oh, Butch Cassidy was excellent.
Yeah.
But Tombstone was the one that I really felt.
Tombstone, that was big for me too. About junior high, I guess. Tombstone was huge.
So quotable.
Very quotable. That Val Kilmer was our, it was everything to us.
Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry. So yeah. I just watched that documentary of his, which is pretty fascinating too. So
yeah, it was fascinating because it's one of those that he's such a great actor, but he just kind of disappeared there for a while.
Yeah, some health issues and whatnot, but also just like sounds like he's had a bit of a troubled life. And
my son and I, we cover conventions, kind of do the press thing, conventions. And he was at one. We were so excited going to get to speak to him, but he showed up like nobody. You couldn't see him come in, so he's back like behind a curtain. So then you have to wait in the line to get to him. I mean, the line was out the door. We'd have been there past midnight, probably waiting.
I think they showed some of that on the dock. It was
they did
waiting.
That was too much
and whatnot. Yeah.
We didn't make it. We took a look at that and we're like, okay, maybe we'll see somebody else. But we were disappointed.
I went to the Saturn Awards last night. Mike Flanagan got a Visionary Award there, and so we had a couple tables with a bunch of the midnight.
That's pretty great.
That was my first experience at the Saturn Awards, so it was it was really great. It was wonderful. And just fans of horror and fantasy and sci-fi, and just
did you have something in the wardrobe to wear, or did you have to go out and buy something special?
So I had to go buy. I mean, part of that too is that I put on quite a bit of weight, Mike, for Sturge. Somewhat intentionally, somewhat it was just pandemic, and I was like,
I mean, if you gotta grow the beard, you might as well enjoy it.
Grow the beard. Sturge isn't. It's not like they have a 24-hour fitness on Crockett Island. So so he's not the most fit. So I was like, why not? I'll just enjoy life. And I got pretty heavy. So I was still coming back from that. And so all my old stuff doesn't yet fit.
I'm in that boat.
Yeah, so I had to go out and buy a few things for sure.
I didn't get to do it for fun reason. I was just stuck at home, and I held out for a month or two, and then I was like, screw it.
Yeah, I mean, mine was a fun. Yeah, it was fun, and it was just laziness too, and whatever. So but I could always claim it was for the character.
It's difficult. Like if you're used to going to a gym, and you don't have really any equipment at home, and then they close everything. It's difficult. You're like, what do I do now?
Yeah, you go off the rails like I did.
We tried. So I tried. They closed the gym. I tried to buy exercise equipment. It was sold out everywhere.
Yep.
So I was like, well, I'll just go to the track. I'll run at the track. Well, they closed the track. And I was like, well,
I
guess I'm just getting fat.
I know. Well, now we've well, like all of us got a little heavy over the pandemic, no question. But we finally got, now it's a little bit more readily available, all the health fitness equipment and stuff. So I'm trying to get
I wasn't going to let that happen again. As soon as I found some, I was like, I'm buying it, even if it's just sitting in the corner.
So we've got the weight sets and the bands and all that stuff now that we can do out, outside. And that's one of the good things about California. We can kind of do it outside.
I know. Every time I've been to California, it's been like sunny and 75.
Yep.
Maybe you have the winds, but that's the extent of the weather.
Yeah. So it's really is kind of, I can just set up my outdoor gym right outside here and go to town. So it's
like 45 degrees and rainy here now. It has been all week. It's terrible.
That sounds like Portland, where I grew up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot like Portland. There was years ago, I was offered a job. It was a little town in Washington, but it was like 7 miles from Portland. And so I got to go out there and spend a little bit of time. But it's very
Vancouver, Washington, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, they had it was a Nautilus call center, and they closed the Ticketmaster call center here. Yeah. And my wife went to work for corporate, so I was like, well, I got to find something. So I went out and checked it out and stuff. Yeah. But I was like, why am I? It's just like West Virginia here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. So I assume West Virginia is beautiful as well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's green and all that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. It's just it's kind of rainy, and through the summer it's very humid and hot.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't ever get that humidity. Although we've been getting, I don't live there anymore, but they get the heat now in the summers a lot more than I used to, but they still don't get as much humidity, which is kind of nice. So.
Yet the weather's jacked up, so who knows?
Good luck, Portland.
Give it 15 years, it may be 75 all the time in West Virginia.
Exactly. Yeah. All those. Yeah, it could be totally different. Vancouver, Canada too. So. Who knows?
Oh, shoot. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking some time with me. This has been great. Big fan of yours. I really enjoyed you in Midnight Mass.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It was.
I wish there was a season 2, but oh well. Yeah. You wouldn't have had quite the finale if you had a season 2.
No, and maybe in the afterlife somehow. Yeah. Sturge in the afterlife.
In the afterlife.
Yeah, I'll talk to Mike. We'll see what we can do.
See, I think you could do like a YouTube channel as Sturge, and just do different different. What could have happened to Sturge if he hung around? Yeah,
it's funny. I did as I was doing. I'd get bored on set or my trailer, and I'd do these little videos and things and I started doing this little show called what's it called? Helpful Hints, Sturge's Helpful Hints around the house or something like that. Anyway, I have like 4 episodes of it, and they're about 2 minutes long or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I thought about just posting them at some point.
You need to post those.
Yeah. So
I'd watch it. You have at least one person.
And it kind of it part of it's somewhat sacrilegious as far as but it's just kind of funny, a funny little kind of sideshow about Sturge's journey through what's happening and what he's thinking, and it's kind of fun.
That sounds pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. It turns it into a comedy almost. So
There you
yeah.
go. You don't
Yeah.
even need to be in comedy now. You can just do your own.
I just do my own little Sturge show. Yeah.
Maybe you could do Sturge if he became a cowboy. You just all kinds of stuff for Sturge.
There we go. There we go. Yeah. Maybe he was a cowboy before. We'll do a prequel, Sturge on the ranch.
On the ranch. Well, Matt, thank you so much. Before you go, is there anything else? We talked about Midnight Club, but anything else you have upcoming that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
No, not at the moment. Yeah, I don't have anything. I might be working as possible with Mike on the next show.
Yes,
we'll see.
I have a feeling you will.
Yeah. So yeah, that it's based on Edgar Allan Poe short story, All of the House of Usher. So yeah,
love that story. Yeah, I'm big.
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe. I went through that stage when I was growing up. I read all his books.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like they're doing some fun stuff with it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
we'll look forward to that. Last thing before you go.
Yep.
Where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, just Matt Biedel, and then Instagram, same thing, just at Matt Biedel. And then I'm trying to think if I want anything else. I don't really go on Facebook much anymore.
No TikTok for you?
No TikTok. Yeah, it's already Instagram and Twitter is already too much for me. But yeah,
right. I said it was a big deal when I got on Instagram. I mean, I was on Facebook. It was a big deal when I got on Instagram. Twitter, I got on Twitter, but then TikTok, that was too much. I couldn't do it.
No, I'm not going on that.
That's a young man's game.
It is. So, but no, I hope people watch, and I hope if you want to pursue your dreams, it just takes time. And that's what I tell people, it doesn't always take time, but count on it taking time, because it sometimes you have to just put in the years before you're able to really do what you want to do. I learned that. I got to LA in 2007, and now it's 14 years later. So it takes some time. And working
and that's pretty inspirational too, because a lot of people they give up on it.
It's and it's not, and sometimes I get it. I was there too. I almost gave up numerous times, having a family and raising two kids in LA. Having gone through those slow periods and not having enough money, from my hotel job or whatever it was. So, but just if you believe in yourself, then you got to just keep doing whatever you can to keep going, because sometimes it just takes time, meeting the right people and whatever. So, and doing good work, and
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Matt. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you and get to meet you, at least as close to in person as we can get. Now.
Yeah, exactly. In these COVID times, but it's been a pleasure, Mike. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, hold on one second. All right, so that was Matt Biedel. What a really terrific, nice guy. Just a nice guy, and an inspirational story, I think, because a lot of times, we talk to people that feel like they're too old to get into acting, but it was something they always wished that they had done. And he did that. So it's possible. He started late. It took him years to really establish himself, but here he is, and just a terrific actor, and out there in a lot of really good shows. So, if you haven't watched Altered Carbon, he's terrific in it. He plays several different roles. I'll call him that, although they're all kind of connected. He was great on Mad Men. We loved him on the Umbrella Academy, and now Midnight Mass. If you haven't watched that one, stop what you're doing and go watch it. 7 episodes. Once you get started, you won't stop. You'll run right through them. You'll love it. You'll love it. And he's got our favorite character. I love Sturge and the character development of his throughout the series. It's terrific. It's terrific. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. Really appreciate that, and definitely do not take that for granted. If you haven't done so yet, we could use help with our YouTube channel. Love for you to go and subscribe. It's MeisterCon Pod on YouTube. You can also check out our website, meistercon.com. We've got, I think right now we're right at 300 episodes, audio and video. So I guarantee you'll find a subject or a person that you're fans of. Please check that out. You'll enjoy that. There's a great blog from Brett. He's such a talented writer. It'll let you know if we're doing anything live in the studio, if we're going to any conventions and working, all that will be on there. So please check that out, meistercon.com. Until next time, everybody. Bye.